Okay, so good evening. And today we are going to be going deep into Nmap and in particular Nmap script. Like there's a whole lot you could do with Nmap, right? So but today we'll be going deep into Nmap script and the protocol we're actually going to be working with is the SMB protocol. So we're going to be saying what we could do with Nmap, checking what's going on with SMB protocol. So let's start. I have my target IP address, and actually, I'm using a lab. So let's start with just running in my target IP address. Okay. Yeah. So this is my target IP address. So yeah. So this are the IP that we have available, right? So what I want to do is we should automatically know what port SMB is running on. Actually, it is usually port 445. That is right here. But at this point, I want to run a service scan. Let me just do Nmap service scan IP address and let me specify the ports, right? By using port 445. 445 is SMB usually. So at this point, yes, we have the service already, and we discover that it is running on version Microsoft Windows Server 2008, 2000 to 2012 Microsoft. So at this point, I want us to list the supported protocols. And when I say the supported protocols, I mean the supported protocols. And with that, what we'll be doing is running Nmap, specifying port 445 with script, which is like the best you could do with Nmap. Script SMB protocols, then IP address. I'm using a lab, so I guess that's why it's this slow. Oh, protocols. Hmm. Yeah. So SMB protocols and specify the IP. Yeah, that's all. Then hit enter. So from here, we discovered that SMB protocol is what's running, and we could be dialect NTLM 0.12 SMB version 1. It is dangerous because it's by default. Then we have 2.02, 2.10, 3.00, So all that is done. We know what protocol is running. It's SMB protocol and the dialect NTLM 0.0.12. So the next thing we want to do is to check to give information about the SMB security level, like see how it is. So we'll be doing the same thing, like running our SMB script to get the results. And at this point, this is actually much more easier, right? It is much more easier, but I think there's okay. So all I will be changing here, we are still running the same command, but right now we're not checking for SMB protocols, right? We want to check for security mode of this SMB protocol open on this our target IP. So security mode. Yeah. So reading through the results, it says all script results, the SMB security mode says we have an account that is used, we have guest accounts, authentication level says user challenge response supported, message signing. Disabled is dangerous, but by default, this is our SMB security mode. Then we'll be moving on from checking the security mode to using a valid credential, right? So let's see something using valid credential and see what outputs it gives us. I'll be using this particular command we used initially, but just changing it a bit. We have our script to be SMB enum, like enumeration, right? List enum sessions. You want to check for sessions, then specify the script argument. Specifying our script argument is actually us specifying like the username. So be doing SMB username is what administrator. Administrator. Remember I said we want to use a valid credential and using administrator as our username. Admin is like a valid user, right? On this particular target. And using SMB administrator as our username, specifying our password is going to go as SMB password, SMB password, and we're giving our password as SMB user underscore 771. And yes, that is it. Let's run. Okay, there's an issue. Script args is meant to be just what I do. Script. Okay. There shouldn't be an issue right now. So we are done. And here is the result. It's only returned the the service stating that the port number is open. But I think there's an issue somewhere and we will find it later on. Let's move on to checking and listing all available shares on this. This time around, we won't be using valid credentials. When I say valid credentials, means using specifying username and port and password, right? So this time around, we just want to go with SMB and shares, as we want to check and list all available shares available. Shares IP. So at this point, we have the response listed already, and right here we can check and see what shares are available. Account shares, we have a guest user. Says the type is F5 history, even remote admin, anonymous access none, current user access none, and for computer C, this is for administrator, right? Then we have another, literally the same thing, but the current user access says it has a read access. That's for C. Then the next one, there's no access. Coming down here, the current user access is still read. Same as this. Let's just go down. At this point, IPC, the type is S-type IPC even. Comment says remote IPC, anonymous access none, but the current user access is what? Read and write. Let's move on and see what else we could do with this using scripts with Nmap, right? Using Nmap scripts just to check, enumerate, list, and do a lot of things. The next thing we're going to be doing is adding a valid credential, right? So it's literally the same thing. We're just going to change the script to enum shares. Since we are not checking for sessions. So this is changing to shares. Okay. So there was a problem, and the problem was there was a mistake with our SMB password. It is not, let me come down here. It's actually not SMB user 771, but SMB server 771. Now let's see the response we get from here. Okay, so that was actually the mistake we made earlier. And remember that we're just checking for the shares that are available and the right. So I think we read through all these initially. So after logging in, we now discovered that administrator has a read and write access as the current user's access. And just checking through it, we will discover new shares. Initially, we were in as guests, but now that we are logged in as administrator, we find different user access that each computer has. From there, the initial one that didn't run, that was when we were trying to check for. That was when we were trying to check for. Let's check. Let's back. We were trying to check for sessions then. Yeah, sessions.
So we're actually right. Our only mistake was inputting the wrong password. Little mistakes could actually lead to you not getting your desired result, right? So we're going to come back and here we are, SMB server. So we got our results already. Let me not block it. So I initially ran a wrong argument actually. So I changed it to the right one. And checking for sessions using a valid credential, we discovered that we have SMB sessions, the users logged in as Bob. This is Mr. Bob, logged in an active SMB session. Then administrator is connected from this particular IP for so discover that I actually just logged in. Obviously, I'm the one that is logged in as administrator, remember? Right here. So so far we've actually gone through identifying SMB protocols. We checked for the SMB security level information. Then we've been able to list active sessions, active shares, doing them without administrative access and doing them with administrative access, which is the valid credentials, right? Now we're going to go on into checking for Windows users, domains, and services, and so on. So let's go on. And somehow the command we are going to run is still going to be the same as previous. It's just the little changing and tweaking that we need to do there. So for us to scan for our Windows users right now, we are going to use the same command right here, right? So I think I want us to do it without let's do it without valid credentials first and see what response we get. We want to list Windows users, right? So our command is going to be okay. Let's not go that route. Let's not go that route. Let's just do it with this. We want to list our Windows users. And I think for us to list Windows users, we have to be logged in, right? So SMB enumerate enum users. FP right here. We can find our SMB users administrator right here, Bob right here, and guests right here. So we have three users available. And says for the flag for our administrator, password does not exist. The normal user same as Bob, but for guests, it says password does not expire. Normal user account and password is actually not even required to be logged in as guest. And I think that was what happened right here. That is if we can check. Yeah, let's check. There was this initial right here. Do you see that we were able to list shares available on this IP address without logging in? You see that we're logged in as guests. But by the time we imputed valid credentials specifying administrator, that's the username and password. Doing that successfully, we discovered that we were able to log in as admin right here. So that kind of gives us more understanding and more explanation about what is going on, what we've been doing so far. Marvin issues, think we'll be back. Okay, that's resolved. Now we want to list for the statistics. Want to get information about our server statistics, and that would also go in the same way, but this time around we are not enumerating. We still have to be logged in as administrator, and yes, so if this is where we are doing our ticking, time around not enumeration, going to be SMB server, since we want to check for the statistics part right there. So let's run. Okay, here we go. SMB server statistics. It says the server statistics collected since 20. Today is 4th. Yeah, today is 22nd April 2023. It ran for whatever. Then the bytes available, which is the statistics we actually need. Bytes sent, bytes that was received. Then we had 49 failed logins, 7 permission errors, 0 system errors, 0 print jobs, and 32 files were open. So right there, we want to move on to checking for available domains. So checking for available domains, we are going to go back to our enumeration, right? Yeah, so it's going to be SMB enum domains right there. Okay, still running. Okay, done. So here we go. SMB enum domain with Windows days. The groups is Windows days. WMI users. The users is administrator, Bob, and guest. We found that initially. Then creation time was this. Password. They have a minimum length not available, minimum age not available days. Then maximum age is 42 days. History not available password. Then property says complexity requirements exist. The account lockout is disabled. Then built-in, we have groups, user, access control, assistance operator, administrator, backers, and so on. So if you want to get more information, you just need to read through and understand what all this means. Users not available, creation time, passwords, and yeah, right there. So right now we've been able to list the available domains. We have this domain, then we have a built-in domain, right? So I think there are just two domains available here. We had the Windows and a built-in domain. So to move on, we are going to check for available user groups. And I think with that, we are going to be closing the curtain for today's video. So let's go right in. And when we want to list user groups, we are still going to use our any argument, right? So it's just going to change to this right here. We want to check for our user groups. So not just using specifying as user groups, we're just going to specify groups. That solves it. Nice. So SMB enumerates our groups. So we have built-in administrators, users, guests, power. We have backup operators, replicator, remote desktop user, network configuration. And so on, we don't have Hyper-V administrator. We have access control assistant operators. I mean, we have a lot of group users, right? I mean, rather, users group available right here. So we can see that our um Nmap scripts can do a whole lot for us. So when it comes to information gathering, understanding what you can get and things you think you can exploit using Nmap, this is our go-to. Like Nmap scripts does a whole lot. It works in awesome way. And yeah, right here, our lab has expired, I guess. And with that, we stop today's video. Thank you and see you in the next video.